Welcome to another episode of the Film Room. I'm really excited to be joined today by Jewel Spear from over at the University of Tennessee. Jewel, first and foremost, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no doubt. It's glad to get you on. Especially now, like looking at this year, it's your last year, final season of college. Just had a birthday yesterday. You've been proclaimed as the grandma of the team. How are you? How are you kind of feeling? Knowing like, shoot, I think two more games of SEC play left, and then the conference tournaments here.
Yeah, it's surreal, just being in college for 5 years now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I remember being, a 17-year-old at my first college, and now, being here at Tennessee, which is treating me so well. It's so surreal, honestly. Just trying to stay in the present, take each game by game, and really enjoy the moments with my teammates. And even though they call me grandma, which I'm not that old,
Yeah.
it just shows how much they care about me, I guess.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. It's been really fun to watch. That's kind of how you guys have come together this year. Um, Especially with, just in general, coaching change happening, seeing Kim come in. What was your impression of Kim and her system before she even got to Knoxville, or did you have one?
I had a little bit of impression. Obviously, when she got hired, I kind of did a little bit of my research and watched some of the Marshall's games or highlights, and I could just see that they played really fast. I saw that they subbed a lot and that their defense was very intense. So, all good things, all things I knew I would have to make an adjustment to, truthfully and honestly, with the subbing. But I think, being in a system for almost a full year now and being at the back end of it, I think that it's very effective, honestly. It just shows how much depth that we have within our team, but also how I can make an impact in 2 minutes, get a quick break, and then come right back in and still be productive with my numbers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that part of what's been really fun in seeing that is exactly like you said. So much of being at the next level and being ready to be a pro is like you have to be able to, especially when you first come in, make an impact in smaller minutes or with kind of like a little bit of uncertainty of how long you're going to be out there. And obviously playing with
Exactly.
intensity, playing fast, like it's huge. Um, what was
Mhm.
maybe like the biggest challenge in getting used to that sub pattern though? Because it's again very unusual compared to like most stages in
Yeah.
basketball. So what has that been like for you getting used to that?
I feel like at the beginning it was kind of like a rhythm thing. Just knowing you're going to be in for maybe 2 minutes, maybe longer or shorter, depending on how the game's going and what you're doing on the court, and then be out was kind of like a little puzzling at first. Um, Running her system, just getting used to it as a player because you're used to a player like me. I was used to being in the game for maybe 5 or 6 minutes at a time. You know what I mean? But now I'm used to just being in for 1 to 2 minutes, maybe three, depending on the point of the game, and knowing that I can go hard, get a sub and come right back in and not mess up my rhythm because I'm literally exhausting all my energy and I need a break.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you kind of play off that as well, like you mentioned, in terms of having to like kind of figure out rhythm a little bit early on in the year. Obviously, I know you dealt with a leg injury, but like getting back now, I mean, your last 15 games have been just like nuts. I mean, you're hitting everything. You can tell the confidence is there. Was there maybe like kind of like a light bulb moment or something that like made you that clicked for you that made you feel like more in rhythm, or what was kind of the impetus for that?
I feel like getting healthier was the main thing.
Hmm.
And when I'm healthy and when I'm confident, I feel like I can be one of the best players in the country, honestly. Um, and that's just me being aggressive and confident in my set, knowing that I can shoot the three at a high clip, but I can also get to the basket and create for my teammates and be such a leader on the court that calms, my freshman down and Kanai Boyd, who's playing really well this year,
Yeah.
but also just Sean Coop, who was a transfer last year and didn't really get to play, but now she's playing this year and doing really well. So I think it's just being a leader and using my experience to not only help myself, but my teammates as well. And I say another thing that kind of clicked was just staying in the present. Um, Knowing my goals of wanting to play in the WNBA, and being the first person out of my hometown to do so would be really special, but not putting that pressure on myself. I feel like I was putting a lot of pressure on myself at the beginning of the year. But knowing if I stay present and control what I can control, everything else will take care of itself.
I love hearing that mindset. And as a side note too, it's just been cool watching you grow into that the last couple of years. Because I know when you were first
Mhm.
at Wake, there was, it takes time to get accustomed to that, and kind of grow up
Yeah.
into that. So it's cool to see. Um, Last couple of questions before we get into the film. Uh, how has the way you view and understand spacing and good offense changed this year? Because I think, especially playing in this system, a lot gets made out of the press, and the press is important. But Kim
Mhm.
plays like very modern stuff on offense. It's a lot of letting you attack and create and kind of figure
Yeah.
things out on your own. So how has that kind of changed the way that you see things this year?
I think chemistry was the biggest thing, like getting used to who you're playing with. I play a lot with, Talasia, Z, Kanaya, and Sarah. So like getting used to everybody's skill set, knowing whether they want the ball, where they're gonna drive from, knowing if Coop gets to the basket, a lot of people are gonna squeeze in on her. So relocating where she can find me, but then playing off of that. If people are flying out on me, I'm gonna attack the basket. If people are sagging, then I'm gonna shoot the ball. So just playing off our skill sets, and I think also just showing my skill set as well. Coach Kim allows us a lot of freedom, and if we work on our game, she allows us to show it. So just showing what I can do.
Yeah, no, and that's again the cool part because I'm sure you're aware of how well you're shooting on twos this year, but I think your last year at Wake you shot just below 40% on twos. You're around like 55% this year, and it
Yeah.
shows in just like how you read the game, your change of pace, all those things that I think you really add to your bag the last year that we're going to dive into. Um, Lastly, in terms of like getting to that next level and that being something that's been at the forefront for you, um, shoot, did I freeze?
No, you're
Okay.
good.
Okay, dope. Um, yeah. And lastly, like getting into obviously getting to the next level, that being a goal for you. Um, who are the biggest drivers of that for you? And what's been maybe your what's been kind of most key to you in continuing to add things to your skill set, continue to grow and get towards that spot?
Looking at people at the university, I would say Coach Kim, just player development. I think we really focus on player development. We focus on that a lot within the summer, just breaking down skills, becoming better finishers, playing off of counter moves, um, getting to your spots, playing a lot of 3-on-3, 5-on-5. So you're able to utilize space and know what to do with space, but also a lot of movement, playing off the ball. I'm really comfortable with that. I've been comfortable with that. And just finding ways to get an advantage on offense. And I think also within Coach Kim, I think I'm in the best shape of my life. Honestly, my body has transformed a lot. I've been in the best shape conditioning wise, and I think that just goes into what we've done this past summer. And it was different. It's never something I've ever experienced in college, and I think that was a good thing for me. It pushed me mentally and physically. And then I would say my family is a big forefront of what I want to do. I think they're always supporting me, coming to games when they can, or just always watching and shooting me texts and just believing in me and telling me to trust myself and bet on myself because I'm a special player.
I agree with that. So lastly though, on that, like you mentioned with conditioning, what was maybe the hardest moment of conditioning you dealt with this summer?
Uh, I'd probably say the track.
Yeah.
The track. Yeah, like she made us run a good amount.
Yeah,
On
I believe
track.
it. Hey, it shows up on court. So
Yeah, it definitely shows up on the court. She always says, hate me now, love me later, and that sticks true.
I want to start off talking about your defense because, like you mentioned, I think your defense is an area that's really taken a big jump this year.
Hmm.
Just consistency, being on top of things, which has been really good to see because that's so huge for sticking at the next level. So starting off with the Alabama game, let's run through this clip and just kind of tell me what you're thinking, feeling. Like obviously a team that plays with, or okay, for me, give me like what was your like breakdown of Alabama coming to this game? You know, like, what was kind of forefront of scouting report, things you want to be on
Yeah.
top of?
Alabama, we knew was shooting the three at a high clip, and we saw that when we played them here. I believe they made 7 threes in the first half, and we wanted to limit them to around like maybe 3 or 4. And we didn't do so. So we had to tighten up in the second half. But we knew they ran a lot of offense with a lot of pitches, trying to get downhill, and collapse the defense to look for threes, but also very pick and roll dominant.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, they're tough. Ton of players who can drive and attack and then space really well around that. Um, so running through right here, getting into more of a switch scenario with how much they run like guard screens with Aaliyah Nye. How
Hmm.
much is that kind of impacting things for you? Like when you're coming into a lot of switching, because you guys didn't switch a ton last year. So what
Hmm.
has that been like for you kind of adapting more to that this season?
I think just having to play maybe taller, stronger people who are at the four.
Mhm.
With Alabama, they played. four guards, you can essentially say. So we're switching, I believe, one through four, especially with Nye, knowing that she's a dead-eye shooter, and a shooter that can get hot. We have to switch hard on her. But then switching with Zay, knowing she can shoot the three, but knowing that she's looking to get downhill off the screen, I just went under the screen there.
Hmm. No, absolutely. Yeah, especially when you have a player who can drive like that, like got to get under and make sure that you're staying on top. Um, but now as you're like getting into a situation where again, like, okay, I have to defend a big, how does that kind of change things for you mentally or like the way that you're approaching something?
I feel like you have to be more physical. I feel like with the bigs in the SEC, I can't stand behind them.
Right.
Obviously, you have to front them. So just being physical, getting in front, and then relying on your help side to be there.
Hmm. No, absolutely. Yeah, then good job just cutting off, making this a tough two.
Yep.
Um, yeah, everything tough two instead of giving up a drive is a big thing. So right here too, again, getting into more switch stuff. As soon as you see these staggers coming, what are you thinking? Like, how are you gonna getting prepared for this?
Knowing that Aaliyah's probably gonna come off of this, or she's gonna curl the first one. So with Sam, I if I can get through, but if not, just switch it and allow
Mhm.
her to take it.
And then I love, like you mentioned, in terms of now hearing from you, we know we're getting into the pitches. You being on top of that right away is big here.
Exactly. I think we really ran through that a lot in Scout the days prior. So just knowing like when she comes off of this, she's not really looking to score. It's more so looking to get it to, Sarah to get downhill.
Absolutely. So when you're facing something like this, what to you when you watch this team or when you're seeing an action like this, what makes this so tough to guard?
It goes so quick.
Yeah.
Like if you're not mentally locked in, you're gonna chase Nye off of that, knowing she's a shooter, and then your other guard's gonna be behind on Sarah getting downhill. So you just really got to be locked in, going off that stagger and knowing, hey, I need to get under this screen.
Yeah, especially too. I love that you don't get caught by the screen because that's a tough one.
Hmm.
Especially, I'm assuming you can see Z's calling it out, right? Make sure
Right.
that you know. Okay. Yeah, no, I love that. Their offensive stuff, obviously, just like you guys, but a lot of good stuff with that in terms of looking at next level. So here with UConn, a lot
Mhm.
of similar ideas, but different conceptually, a lot more like Chin, Princeton stuff.
Yep. Hmm.
So what are you feeling out here? Because obviously you spent a lot of time guarding AZ in this game.
Hmm.
As soon as she's pitching the ball, what are you thinking?
It's coming back to her for a flare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like in terms of like how you want to, okay, looking back on this, how would you want to guard this differently next time?
I would have got more attached to her on the catch. I think she's such a great shooter. She knows how to set people up, but
Yeah.
I feel like I got clipped by that screen because I wasn't tighter to her body.
Yeah. And like you said, I think that's the hard part because they're so good at running all their stuff off of
Hmm.
flares and doing anything out of the elbows. Because if you play it too tight, she can cut easily. Or,
Exactly.
if you force any kind of switch, then Sarah's strong. Slipping is really hard stuff to guard.
Hmm.
Um, but being able to point that out, especially like because you're somebody who's really great at setting yourself up off screens like that too. So being
Right.
able to be on top of that is big. Um, Next play right here. So like we talk about with more switching stuff. Um, as you're kind of as you guys transitioned a lot more to switching throughout this game, how is that kind of again like feeling things out here? Like what's big in guarding this, especially with like a guard screen?
Yeah, I know that, Talaysia wanted to stay on page, if she could. But in this situation, I got over the screen and Talaysia's right there, so we just pill switched right there.
Yeah, and I love that it's appeal too because so often
Uh,
like all right, if you just kind of soft switch it a little bit, then I
yeah.
mean they love slipping everything and they're so
Right.
efficient getting downhill. So like you don't want to give that up. You don't give up any kind of pass. So it's AZ has to play one on one. So it's good
Right.
stuff there. Um, Continuing off the switching stuff though, get when you get switched onto a big, like we're talking about, like you mentioned earlier with having to play physically fronting. Again, when you're in the spot, how are you kind of approaching this?
We work on this a lot in breakdown pre-practice of when we're playing bigger teams of just being physical, not getting pinned in and really just releasing contact and then getting around.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on releasing contact for people like not super familiar?
Like right there, I think she's trying to seal me up. So
Hmm.
now I have to when KK has the ball, she's sealing me up. So I have to release and get around her. And then maintain contact. Like I can't relax when the ball gets right back to Paige or she'll duck me in again. So just maintaining contact and then seeing the screen come in and it's just knowing we can switch that. even though it's Kanaya, just continue switching, switching, switching because it's guard to guard, and
Yeah.
you're out. Yeah.
No, I love that. So it's all really great understanding because to me, like so much of what made you guys successful in this game, like a lot of people will point to the offense, but I thought the way you guys were able to flatten things out after that first quarter with the way you're switching was so big in being able to kind of create some separation in this game. And more importantly, taking away the ability to create separation for them. Because, I mean, I think people look at this and like, oh, they have a mismatch in
Mhm.
the post. But like you said, you do such a good job of being able to just make yourself a presence and make it hard. So that's why this ends up being contested and really difficult. As soon as you're getting into this kind of play, when it's more of like pass and cut and you're feeling that out, as soon as Toddy is like letting this ball go, what's kind of going through your head? Like, how do you
Yeah,
kind of feel this one out?
I already remember this play. We were supposed to switch this because it comes so fast, right?
Hmm.
But when she passes it, I'm supposed to get into her body. But Madison Scott did a really good job of kind of using her body when
Yep.
she pivoted there. But looking back on it, if I were to do something different, I believe I watched this with my coach, is jump towards the ball side. So jump towards her right side and make her go back into the defense, knowing
Yeah.
she wants to go right and then clear out that whole side, making her go back towards the defense, which would allow me more time to recover.
Yeah, no, I love that because exactly. It's like it's not a UCLA cut, but it's like similar in terms of
Right.
principle of like if you can just try and dictate where they're going instead of letting them go where they want to, that's really big. But exactly like you said too, I think it happens in 1.5 seconds. It's such a
Right.
fast action, it's hard stuff to guard.
Uh-huh.
But again, I think like seeing the way your defense has improved this year has been really awesome. Um, so let's go into some of the offensive stuff. Right here, reading a closeout, because I think again, that's one of the ways where you've really grown this year because you're a really good volume shooter.
Mhm.
So you're going to get closeouts. But like as soon as you're seeing a closeout come, what are you thinking? All right, cool. Here's
So,
Page coming on the X out. What are you
yeah,
thinking?
so I'm looking to shoot, obviously, right? But I see Paige coming out at a full sprint. And she's long and she
Yeah.
can block shots. So getting her to, fly by and then reading that space and getting into a floater, knowing that, a big's coming over to try and block it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I do just want to say for people who haven't, who maybe didn't get to watch you when you were awake or even last year at times, I think like this to me, if we go back 2 years, you're either taking the three or you're taking a more contested shot against the big. So like
Right.
being able to like slow down, read all these things, there's a lot of layers to it. So it's,
Right.
again, seeing that stack knowledge is really cool.
Hmm.
Um, right here, getting into you guys do a lot of like sideline DHO stuff. So as
Right.
soon as you're kind of getting into this, what are you looking for? What are you kind of feeling out?
Playing off my shot. I know a lot of people, first I'm looking at my shot, right? But
Hmm.
I know that really I'm looking to drive. I see so much space, but I just play off my shot to get an advantage. And then I had her beat, but I knew Sarah Ashley Barker was going to try and block it. So just giving her a little pump fake to get her off balance.
Yeah, and then free throws. Everybody needs free throws, man. Free
Yes.
points are good points.
Yes.
So right here, getting into the last two of the last couple of possessions for you guys that played off one another. Getting right in here, kind of like um, pitch into a flare. So like getting into this play just in general with how hard they're playing everybody with a lot of pressure. Well, again, feeling out process on this one.
Yeah, so knowing I wanted the ball in my hands to make a play, I believe I just made a play before, but also knowing like they were switching, but they weren't like switching hard enough to get at me.
Hmm.
So she was flat right there, caught the ball, felt good, and was ready to shoot.
Yeah, no,
I tried
absolutely.
to set AZ up by trying to walk her down a little bit and then just creating space off of that. And I
Yeah,
think
absolutely.
Cooper's really smart by, screening her man and AZ also at the same time. So that
Yeah,
helped.
no, definitely. And then this play. So after just having that happen, and then they kind of change up a little bit, play with a little bit more pressure. Obviously, there's option for you with the flare here off Z. Feeling this one out, seeing what you can get. Obviously, take the cut. It's great, great call. But like, what are you thinking here, feeling here?
Yeah, so instead of starting at the top of the key and letting them know that I was probably gonna flare off of that, playing off a Coop, knowing I can flare off of this one with Z, but knowing that AZ's kind of like forcing me to cut, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
just reading that, knowing she's on the top side and getting to the basket.
What's the most important part for you in like selling a cut or selling a screen?
I think walking my man into the screen and then reading
Hmm.
off of that, whether it's a flare, walking them down, they go over, curl it. If they go under, just ready to shoot, or if I'm walking them into a flare, like point it, like going towards face to face. If they're on the high side, slipping. If they're on the low side, then flaring.
Absolutely. I know you watch the W, but so like somebody who I love that does this that people should always pull clips from, Dewana Bonner. Dewana Bonner is one of the best at like
Yeah.
setting up and selling screens. Like a lot of people think she just scores because she's long, but she's got a deep bag for like getting
Hmm.
into stuff. Um, so getting into some more stuff, just more in the half court, running this, I don't know if you remember this baseline out of bounds play, but it kind of becomes more of a mismatch hunt. So as soon as was this, did you guys have anything set up before this, or is it just kind of playing out of what
Yeah,
you
so
get?
we knew that they ran a zone out of bounds, a 1-3-1.
Mhm.
So getting into the corner, knowing that they were going to try and hurry up and trap. So just really just swinging the ball, swinging the ball, swinging the ball, and then playing off of that.
Absolutely. And I love here too, again, just kind of the recognition knowing, all right, I've got their five on me. Z ducks in, gets a mismatch,
Yeah,
buckets.
just being patient. Like I came off the screen, I had a mismatch, but I think Z's mismatch is a higher percentage shot, at the rim with a smaller player. So just kind of leaving it up there for her to go get, knowing that the a smaller defender couldn't go get that.
Absolutely. And again, like it seems like a small play, but stuff like this is so big, especially like you're a player who's always going to get somebody out on you as a shooter. So
Hmm.
like being able to take advantage of stuff like that is big time. Just a couple more things. So right here, when you're playing as more of a screener. Oh, hold on a sec. Did I? Oh, I have it on the right one. When you're playing as more of a screener yourself, so like when you're able to kind of just, you guys do a lot of like, if you don't have something open in a dribble or two, flipping into a quick handoff. So as soon as you get into this, and like obviously you want to give Talasia space, but also like part of that can be screening. What are
Hmm.
things you're feeling out here to make this and deciding that, all right, I'm going to screen here?
Yeah, so like at first when I first pitched it to her, if you rewind it, when I first pitched it to her, she didn't really use it as much. She kind of just stayed squared up. So
Mhm.
then I was trying to get out of her way, but then another way I can get out of her way is confusing the defense and setting a ghost screen. So they got confused on that because they didn't know if they should stay on Talasia or if they should come with me. And then it was just a little bit of space that I needed to get my shot on.
Definitely. Um, Especially playing with Coop this year. I mean, pretty special driver. Like there's not a lot of players her size that have that kind of handle and ability to get downhill. What has it been like playing off that? Obviously, you got to with Rakia last year as well, but different offense this year.
Yeah, I think playing off of it is good. We have a good chemistry and connection. Just knowing like when she comes in transition, she can pitch it up to me for me to make a play, or I can pitch it up to her. If she gets tired, I can go. If I get tired, she can go. She can get down to the basket at ease. And like I said, when they collapse, I can make shots. Or if they collapse on me, since I'm driving a little bit more this year, playing off the catch, playing off my shot, looking for her. So just playing off of each other, I think it's been really well, and it's making it hard for defenses to know who to guard and how to guard.
Absolutely. So it's fun too because you mentioned earlier talking about off-ball movement and playing off those actions. I think obviously that's something you've always had, but I think this year you've really like gotten a lead at it. And I think this is one of my favorite possessions from you this year, just in general. Obviously end of clock stuff, kind of working to get Z in the post a little bit and just what that ends up being. But I love just this last couple seconds, you continuing to move back and forth, make things difficult, sell stuff. Um, because to me, like the reason this stays open and Z gets a wide open fadeaway is because you keep moving. You don't give KK Deans the chance to cheat over a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, Especially like kind of instilling some of that stuff. And like we talked about, like continuing to work on um spacing around who you know, your personnel. Like when as soon as this is happening and this ball is getting into the post, what kind of sets up for you to start doing some of this?
Yeah, so 6 seconds, I see Z has a lot of space. There's three people on one side, then it's just me. So if I just stand in the corner, she might have that same space, but also just giving her an option if she got stuck, right? So I was just trying to get open for her. But like you said, defenses can't double onto the post off of me or I'm shooting it. So just kind of making my defensive man stay locked in with me, but also continuously moving.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's big time stuff because again, like so much late clock stuff can get bogged down if you're just standing stagnant and things don't
Right.
move. Um, Last play, I think, especially with like watching again, you create an early offense this year, the team in general creating an early offense.
Mhm.
Within sort of the principles of kind of how you guys play and everybody's allowed to make decisions. As soon as you're catching the ball and you know, okay, I have my time to make something happen. What's kind of feeling our process with that?
So I see Kennedy Todd in front of me, good defender. So I'm just kind of sizing up right now. And so as I'm sizing up, right, I know that the gap is towards the right. You see the huge gap, right? They're sitting in
Hmm.
my gap on the left with Coop. So I'm really just setting up with a slow dribble to get her to kind of stand up and then explode off of that between the legs. And I see that Maddie is a long defender, so I have to pick up the dribble. I know that Ole Miss is trying to block shots, right? So I'm just playing off my counter move off of that.
Absolutely. And I think you do a really good job timing this too, because I think some players could look at it and be like, oh, well, Sarah's right in the dunker spot right now. I'm going. And
Mhm.
obviously, like you can have dump offs and stuff like that, which is nice. But like especially for you, I think this is like waiting for the clear out. It shows good timing, being able to get that. Um, but yeah, Jewel, that's it that I got film wise. Is there anything else you want to shout out or mention before we get out of here?
No, I'm just really thankful for everybody that's really helped me with my whole college career and giving me the opportunity to shine. And I think we still have more to come. So I'm looking forward to finishing off my college career on a strong note.
Yeah, that makes two of us. It's been a really special season for you guys. I think a lot more under wraps that we're going to continue to see. To everyone watching, of course, keep up with all things Tennessee women's basketball. Give Jewel a belated happy birthday shout out and enjoy the rest of your day.